Brian, congratulations. You knocked it out of the park with the script and your direction. It's such
Thank
a
you.
great film. And I wanted to know, what was it about Jackie's story that just connected with you that you sat down to write this script?
Well, when I was approached, I was asked what I knew about him, and I said I know the same thing everyone knows. He was brave, and he broke the color line, and his number's retired, and it's kind of like what more is there do you need to know? And when I started doing the research and realized how monumental it all really was, and just his real personal bravery and the scope of it, it was kind of overwhelming to think one person really went through all that and did all that.
Yeah, when you started to, really dive into the research to
Yeah.
write the script, and of course having, Rachel by your side there and giving her blessing, amazing. But what really shocked you when you started to sit down to write and, you wanted to get out there for us to see?
I think it's obviously a baseball season itself is a grind. It's 100, back then 156 games, and day after day after day of having to get up to the plate and perform. But to think that he had to do that under those circumstances every single day, it's not like he had to show up one day here or do a specific act that was going to happen on Thursday one time. It was every single day, day after day after day, in a different city, and it was kind of being on display, really, and having to put up with it.
Yeah, amazing. Just an amazing man. Chadwick is so fantastic in this. He did such a great job. What was it about him? How did you know he was your guy?
Chadwick came in, he was the second person that auditioned for the part, and there's a very difficult scene in the middle of the movie, and he chose that as the first thing to do, coming in the room, and he was very specific, the choice. It was a very dramatic scene, and a lot of actors would play it down the middle so that they could stay in the running for the part. And he chose a very specific way to go, which I think was the right way to go, and is how he did it in the film as well. And it was a brave choice because he easily could have knocked himself out of the running. And I thought he's a brave actor, and he's going to play a brave man. So it was a good start and a good indication of his willingness to get in there and do what he had to do.
And to boot, he had a bit of a resemblance to young Jackie.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not big on mimicry, so I wasn't necessarily looking for a physical resemblance, but it was a bonus because he really looks like him, especially at certain times. There's certain angles in the film where you think, wow, that's about as close as we could get, I think.
Pretty amazing. And then, of course, Harrison Ford, who, kind of bugged you for this role. You didn't have him on your radar right in the beginning, did you?
Well, the tricky thing with Branch Rickey, I thought, was I really felt like I needed a character actor to pull off, because he's so he's not a comic book character, but he comes across as this kind of almost comic book character with his bushy eyebrows and the way he dresses, this old-fashioned kind of 19th century look that he cultivated. And when Harrison was interested, I thought, you can't have a movie star play this part because he's got to disappear into this part. And as I was telling him this, he was telling me the exact same thing, that he felt like he had to disappear into the part, and he wanted to look different, he wanted to change the way his hair looked, he wanted to lose the scar on his chin that everyone knows so well, change his voice, and he was right there with me as far as understanding what an actor needed to do to pull off Branch Rickey, so it worked out.
Yeah.
But I think I'm the only director in the history of his career who got Harrison Ford the character actor and not Harrison Ford the movie star. So.
Well, we're glad that you did, because he really pulled it off. He did a I was asking Chadwick earlier, I said, I know you're making a movie, and, but how hard was it? And for you to even watch him do the scene when Alan Tudyk, playing the Phillies manager, is, yelling those racial slurs over and over. And that's pretty intense, that scene. It made me feel extremely uncomfortable. I can't even imagine as a human being how he got through that.
Right. Well, it's an interesting, from my point of view, it's an interesting scene because since I wrote the script, I had done all the research and read the accounts of it in sports pages and in history books and things like that. So I came to it by degrees. So I read about it, then I wrote it out. I had to sit there and actually write it. Then we didn't rehearse it because we just thought it was unrehearsable in a way. And the final thing for me is Alan's a friend of mine. He's been in another
Yes.
film of mine that I did, and when I called action and it started, it was a shock. Even having written it, having studied it, having prepared to do it, and it was an uncomfortable couple of days shooting that stuff, and also with the crowd, with the extras. Them hearing it for the first time, and it's actually very interesting to watch the crowd in those scenes because they're not professional actors, but
Right.
they feel like they are, and I think it's because of the situation they find themselves in. But it's an odd thing to put an actor through because you're acting, but at the same time it's still being shouted at you and you're still hearing it, and it's not. I don't think it can. I think it's very difficult to treat it entirely as a job.
Yeah.
And I actually had a lot of sympathy for both of them, for Alan doing it and for Chad hearing it. And when we were all done, it was good to be done.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, but it was very powerful. Of course, started off as a screenwriter. Now you're doing both screenwriting, directing. Who was your biggest influence as a director that made you want to decide to direct?
I had two big influences. One was Dick Donner, who I worked for as a writer a lot. And I had directed three movies right away when I started directing. And then I stopped for a while and worked with Tony Scott quite a bit. And it was Tony actually who got me interested in directing again after I hadn't done it for a while. So, and two very different styles, but two very generous, kind of beautiful people. So the two of them, I would say.
Well, keep up the great work. Knight's Tale still stands out for me as one of my favorite movies. I just love that movie
thank you.
so much.
No, I'm really proud of that movie.
But
yeah.
congratulations on this. You've just, like I say, outstanding job, and I can't wait for people
Thank
to
you.
see it. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Great to talk to you.